there's a reason why all of these opt-in polls about young people show a weirdly right-leaning slant. I think it's because it's usually young political extremists who are, let's be clear here, fucking losers. They play too much paradox games. They're virgins. Did I say they're losers? They're losers. And they look at an online poll that they can opt into and think like, yes, finally, because they get some kind of like illicit thrill out of, getting to warp the political demographics of their age group. You understand? So it's a combination of trolling and political extremism. Aren't they paid some cents to complete surveys? I'm trying to explain why there's a disproportionately right-leaning slant to these opt-in surveys, not just random. These results aren't just random. I think, yeah, they want to push the narrative. I don't think that young left-leaning people care as much because I think that generally speaking, young left-leaning people are more concerned with real-world outcomes and making life better for people. But there is a very strong correlation between being a young right-leaning person and being some kind of like freakish Nazi 4chan troll. And I think that association, leads to a lot of these disproportionate outcomes. It's one of those things that's been weighing in the back of my head a little bit. A lot of data indicates young people are very disproportionately progressive, and that data's been consistent. But then you see this like weird polling slant where it's like, okay, sure, a lot of young people are progressive, but also like, did you know 15% of young people want to like reenact the fourth, or they want to bring like the Kaiser back and do a Fourth Reich or whatever. And it's like, that's weird. I don't like that. And then maybe it turns out there's just some very, very, very disproportionate polling going on. Remember, the last time that we saw any online polling that talked about young people's disposition towards disbelieving the Holocaust, that was done from a company that was working in line with a Zionist. Do you remember? I don't remember the details, but I remember talking about this on stream. It was polling that was trying to indicate that way more young Americans were like, either ignorant of or disbelieving of the Holocaust than people are willing to believe or acknowledge or accept. And as a consequence of that, like, we need to change this or like educate people better. But I called into question the reliability of the data because I didn't really know, like it seemed like it was from a biased source. But I'm also not going to do a full fucking sociological breakdown of all the data that we ever look at ever, because in a lot of cases, it's hard to even get that data. I think it's that polling underestimates the incumbent president's party in general. Yeah, in a lot of cases, to be sure. I think that for the most part, polling when it comes to overtly political stuff tends to favor a contrarian answer because people who have contrarian positions are more likely to want to express those positions. It's the same reason why if you have a customer feedback line, even if 99% of the customers of your business are happy with your service, you're going to get a lot more than like 1% of your feedback being negative, because people who have negative experiences are more likely to do the like feedback thing to complain about it. Like, you see this all the time in like Facebook comment sections for help underneath like corporate accounts. It happens constantly. It's usually the squeakiest wheels that get the grease, So there's kind of like a lesser version of that happening when you talk about incumbent candidates or contrarian whatevers. It's the same reason why people like Cornel West and RFK Jr. seem like really big deals online, and then you look out there in the real world and nobody gives a fuck, right? There are some environments that are just naturally prone to contrarian representation, and some that aren't.